Okay, sorry about the odd angle of this, guys. But what I'm doing is I'm transferring down this image. Now I got part of it down, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to pull this out and show you I'm doing that. So I got part of it down, so I slide, and the way I do this is I take my image, tape it across the top, make sure the sides are loose, and I just slip my carbon paper underneath. And of course, if you know the carbon paper has two sides. It has the gray side and the black side. This is the side that goes down, so you can actually, hang on, there we are. Now, since I already got part of this down, I'm not going to go back on myself. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in. Okay. And we're just going to continue getting as much information. And information here is all the little details. The more information I get, the better my drawing will be, better my painting will be. And when you do these multiple times, you start seeing more and more and more and more in each image. I want to make sure I got all these things in here. And I'm just going to keep, I mean, you don't have to be exact, but you want to be as tight as possible when you're getting these things drawn in. And this one's going to have a little heavier drawing than normal because I want you to be able to see it. So when I'm working on it, you've got a good idea how this stuff looks. And since this is part of my series for you folks here at SLA, I think this is kind of an important element, just helping getting everybody on the same page. And you can watch these videos over and over again. I don't have any restrictions, so you can actually view them over and over again and draw them and do it again and do it again and do it again. If you're trying to figure out what images to do, you can see this is just a landscape image I took along the highway of Montana as I was going up to WhiteFish. That's just above Kalispell, about 17 miles, across Flathead Lake, which is this gorgeous, gorgeous lake up there. It reminds me of like New England and those places. And so I'm actually just using a, disposable pick pencil that you can stick the lead, you can extend the lead out, keeps a very fine tip. And so, as you're seeing, I'm just kind of putting this down. It's not impressive. This is the same thing I do when I'm actually painting too. So it kind of works both ways. You can use this for painting, you can use it for drawing, you can use it for watercolors. This technique for getting the image down is probably one of the best I've ever seen, other than having somebody else do it. Okay, and I'm just moving across this. Now I'll go back when I'm done with this part and I'll show you another trick the old animators did to make sure that they've got what they wanted. Oh, that's interesting. I never noticed that before. I've done this about 4 times now. And every time I do something, I just want to double check. But I pretty much know what I want out of this. This was interesting because I've done this one about, like I said, 4 or 5 times. And this tree here, I always do it as one tree when it's actually 3. Yeah, I figured that one out. Sketching is some of those things that's kind of relaxing. These contour value sketches, like I call them, are basically all that. Just, learning how to, use a pencil, learning how to just shade. And once you learn how to shade, then you start understanding how these things really work for us professionals. And if you've been to my YouTube channel, you can also go to my website. And I can't remember the exact thing of it, but yeah, I've got about, maybe a few hundred pieces. No, I wouldn't say a few hundred, maybe about 60, 70 pieces on there. I am always adding to it. So you can see this isn't that complicated. You just want to take your time, make sure you get as much information down there as possible. And I like this tree. This tree, it's got all this character to it. Now when I think I got all the information in, that's when I pull the transfer paper and go ahead and so I'm going to come here. Here. Okay, there we go. And there's this here. Oh, sorry. There's this here. Got that. That's in. So I'm going to come here. And I think I'm going to call that. I'm not going to worry about down here or anywhere else. This is kind of the main area. So then what I do now is I'm going to come, I'm looking at the little tiny things I kind of didn't put in. So once I have that done, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull off this. Now it looks pretty good here, but let's see. If I do this and say I'm looking right here, every time I put this on top, I'm looking at that direct area. I've missed a few things. So some of these, like my little shadows, I can already see I've missed those. Let's see if I got them in now. So I'm pretty sure I have. Okay, so there we go. Now we come over to here, I'm looking at this, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to lift it all the way. Missing part of that tree here, the top part here. No, I apologize. Okay. So you can cure a lot of problems just by making sure. Got this. Hang on a second. There's some of this information down here that's kind of lightens it up, because that's going to give me some different values down here. So I want to make sure that what I have before I pull this off is exactly what I want. So it's a back and forth thing. So right there, we got that. I'm going to come over here. I'm looking at here. That kind of continues. I'm going to just pull that down like that. I'm going to just sketch it in. Okay. That kind of comes down that way. You can barely see it. Okay, let's go here. There we go. I just put in some of this ground cover here that's kind of like a ledge. This is by the highway. So when I'm driving by, I saw this, I just clicked it. And I really like, it was such a simple little effective landscape. So here we go, let's come over here. Now look at this. Okay, I missed some of that tree there. So I'm going to come here. Make sure I got it. So you just want to inspect every little tiny thing to make sure that what you have is exactly what you want. And you haven't forgotten anything. And once you, like I said, once you pull this up, you want to make sure that what you have, and again, I'm going to show you that if I'm looking here, I want to make sure I got everything I can see in there. Okay, you can see I'm doing that. I'm going to come over this area here. It isn't always perfect, so you got to work with it a little bit. Ah, see, okay. Okay, so you got it. Yep. So that way you're not having to replace this, or you're not having to try to reposition this back to the place where you want to work. Now once I'm satisfied with that and I'm ready to start my drawing, I'm going to do one thing. So I'm just going to prepare this and we'll make another video on the actual working. What I'm going to do is I want to make a border. I'm going to take my carbon paper, make 4 little notches, and I already got them there. So now I have the exact border to my drawing. So I'm going to pull that off. Try not to muck your paper. Okay, so I'm going to tape that here. Make sure I got a good visual of that. I'm going to tape it above. That way it's always on a 1-1 position. And I want to make sure I tape that down. Now a couple things you can do. You can do this. Just lightly tap that inside. Go here. Because you want to be able to pull the tape back up. And I'm just going to come here. So this painting, this is ready to draw. So you have it bordered. You got all the information out there. You have your reference taped to the top. See, I'm going to move that so you can kind of see that a little better. Okay, so you can kind of see that. That also, hang on. When I'm looking, you can kind of see everything I got on there is exactly what I want. So there you go, folks. This is part 1.